Hey guys, it's Alexis and Kira, and today I'm going to show you how to make like this dress here out of a dress that we bought at the store that was a little bit too big. So let's get started. Before you do any of this, you're going to want to make sure that your dress has an inside lining so that you can have something to sew onto for the bottom of the skirt. So here in my notebook I did like a rough drawing of what my goal was in the end, and so I wrote down the measurements I took from the top of the dress down to where the end of the popover is, and mine was 14.5 inches, and then I took it from like where the armpit was and down to there, and that was 8.5 inches. And you're going to want to add seam allowance here when you go to cut your dress, just a tip. And mine from the very bottom of like the V was 12 inches. So you can do yours shorter or longer depending on your preferences. And then I took the measurement of where the popover ended to the bottom of the skirt, which was 21 inches, because mine was a little too short, so I wanted to add a couple inches extra just to make sure that it could fit both me and my sister because she's a little taller than me. And then I have down here the before, so mine was 52 inches from the very top to the very bottom of the dress, and from the armpit it was 46 inches. So I just used those to make sure that I would have enough fabric to get my end result when I was finished. So using my measurements, I'm going to go 8 or a little more than 8.5 inches so that I have some room for a seam allowance, and I'm going to go an inch more just to be safe. So I'm going to go to 9.5 inches and do a little mark. And then from the very top of it, I had the measurement of 14.5 inches. So I'm going to do 15.5 down here. And same on the other side. Since mine was a little bit scooped, I'm going to do the same thing and use my 12-inch measurement. So I'm going to do 13. Now, once I get that done, I'm just going to draw like a sketch connecting it to cut. So now that I have my measurements done and I sketched out with a seam allowance, I'm going to cut, but only through the top layer of the dress, not through the lining. Be careful of that. Now that you see I have that, I'm going to continue the same thing on the back of the dress. So now what you should be left with is a top of the dress with the rest of it just the lining. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to fold over this where we cut and sew it to finish the edge all the way from like on the front and on the back, just to finish off the top. We're going to measure from the bottom of the dress, of what's left of the dress without the liner, and we're going to measure 21 inches up. And since we also want seam allowance, I'm going to actually go to 24 for this, just to make sure that it'll be definitely long enough. And this time I'm going to cut through both layers just because there isn't a liner as well. Now I've laid my skirt part on top of this portion that I've already sewed the bottom onto. So I'm going to pull that up and lay this down, and what I'm actually going to do is open it up because it's just a big tube right now and stick it in like over top of it. And so once I do that, I'll straighten everything out. So I'm going to figure out where this ends, and I'm going to go up a little bit more with the skirt part just to make sure that it will be covered when we wear it. Just to make sure that the seam will be covered when we wear it. And I think Right there looks pretty good. So then I'll take that up and I'm gonna pin. And as you can see, since this is wider, since we took it from the bottom, I'm just gonna like make little folds so that it'll gather in the places that I want it to when I end up sewing it. I'm going to sew along here and come back. Okay, we are almost done. So our very last step is I'm going to cut right along this bottom because we still have the liner as the full length of the previous dress and not as what I changed it into. So I'm going to cut it here, and then I'll do the same thing as the rest of it, like up here where I fold it under and sew it just to finish off the edge, and then you're done. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.